Michaela here with Love Horsemanship. Whenever I'm developing a horse, I try to identify what is their weakest yield and then make it my goal to build a superhighway to that answer. So I'm with Everett today. This is a 3-year-old Welsh Cob pony. And for him, the hardest answer for him to give me is often a downward transition, slow down or stop. That's partially because he's just innately more extroverted, and so his default is go faster. So I've been working on peppering in these concepts with him in all of our riding sessions that he can say yes to a downward transition from many different roads. So for the most part, we're all taught to stop or back up our horse just by pulling on the reins. That's usually the main road to get to the backup, which is not wrong, but I want to see if I can build more roads than just that one to get the answer that I'm looking for. So I've got a neck string with me today. I've also got a riding stick, and I also have my voice. So I'm going to see if we can show you the different ways that you can ask your horse for a downward transition that's not just depending on the reins. So we're going to start with the neck string and see if we can install a yes answer to backup with steady pressure on the neck string. So notice I have the reins in my hand in case he gets lost or confused. I have my initial cue for backup as a bridge to build us back. So I'm going to pick up, see if that can equal south transition. Good boy. Pretty happy with that. Now we're going to test it through forward motion. Good. So we're going to test it in the walk. I've got my reins there if I need it, and I'm going to ask him to do a downward transition just from the neck string. So I'm not asking with my seat. I'm just seeing if he feels this pressure in isolation. Can he say yes to that as a cue to down regulate? Even better yet, a step or two of backup. Super pleased with that. Happy with that response. Now we're going to see if he can figure it out with my stick. Now for most horses, their association with a riding crop is that this is to make them go faster, right? So this is going to be really good to break up any assumption that your horse might have with the stick, that it can also mean other things like go backwards. So here I'm using rhythmic pressure. Very good. I alternate on either side of the horse's neck because if I just stayed on one side, I would eventually cause them to turn. And again, if I go here and my horse is confused, they're not getting the answer, or maybe they're even having opposition to pressure and going forward, I'm going to pick up on one of my other cues to give him more support and then release both once he gives me the right answer. So another way I like to condition my horses to slow down is through a verbal cue. In my groundwork, I'm really consistent that whenever I ask for a downward transition online, I use an exhale. So for the most part, that translates with my horses pretty quickly under saddle, so that even if I didn't do anything with physical pressure on his body, if I go, he knows that means slow down or stop. Now that was a little bit slow for me, so I'm going to pick up and have him do a few steps of backup, and we'll try again. So I'm going to walk on. No physical pressure on his body. My primary cue is the exhale. Very good. Good boy. So one thing I want to leave you with very clearly is whenever you have to bring back your supportive cue to help your horse find the answer, for example, if this is probably going to be the reins, make sure that you're adding it to your new aid. So let's say I want my downward cue to now be from my stick. If my horse isn't getting it, I'm going to zip up my reins, but I'm going to continue doing the stick as well and then release both when he gives me the answer I'm looking for. What I see a lot of people do is they bring in their new aid that they're so excited to condition their horse to, and the horse isn't listening. So then they take it away and they go back to what they know is effective. But not only did I not teach my horse how to yield backwards from the stick, but I also taught him to ignore it and have opposition to it. So anytime you need to go back to building that bridge for your horse and go back to your supportive aid, make sure that it's in addition to your new aid and not in place of. So I'm super happy with him. He is coming such a long way, and hopefully that gives you some inspiration on how you can build a superhighway to the answer of stop and back up.